Why do you want to forgive student loans instead of changing university structure? We need to do both. Except, the first one is much easier. This is exactly the kind of until we fix everything, don't fix anything attitude that's led our government to stagnate eternally. Who's saying they want loan forgiveness instead of the rest of this stuff? No one is making that argument as far as I've seen. Sallie Mae needs to be dissolved. They've put their own bottom line over the success of the country and its people. College didn't cost this much before, it hasn't been a life-crushing issue very long, and it all lays at the feet of Sallie Mae after they were given free rein. They fucked us, I don't know why it's allowed. The government is only talking about doing one. I want a total fix of the out-of-control loan interest and regulation over university pricing, but there's way less chance of them doing that. And we'll take what we can get. The actual thing happening though, is we're getting neither of these. 1. You can do both things too. Removing student loan debt is a gigantic benefit to the economy because people can now spend that money can now be spent on other things stimulating the economy. We have gotten into a situation where too many non-student people benefit from the current cost structure of American universities. Just as a loose comparison, the U of M has 39,000 undergrads and 27,000 employees. Humboldt University in Berlin has 36,000 undergrads and 4,500 employees. There's 22,000 more employees at the American UVS, the German one. These people are whose careers are funded by undergraduate tuitions. If we made university the same cost as German universities, each university in America would need to cut 80 of its headcount. IMO This is the reason we look at debt relief rather than university tuition restructuring. The people working at the universities are never going to allow restructuring, their lives depend on the current system. On top of that, there's a whole financial system which employs tens of thousands of people and basically only exists for student lending. This industry is not just going to disappear itself. There are so many services that are struggling right now that could significantly benefit from that kind of spending. Look at it this way: many young people are hamstrung by student loan debt, which is preventing them from buying a home, starting a family, starting a business. Helping young workers take these steps pumps a ton of money into other parts of the economy, creating jobs in construction and trades, retail, childcare, and people providing those jobs spend on countless things, and the economy is more vibrant on Main Street than having money sucked into big banks in form of interest payments. Yes, the university cost structure as a whole needs to also be addressed, but it doesn't happen overnight, and forgiving student loans is a way to let people now in their 20s and 30s get on with the live they expected, vs not having resources to start a family until they are too old to do so. Pork no los dos? Canceling student loans and restructuring the system aren't mutually exclusive. Most people who want student loan forgiveness also want a change in the system to future generations don't have to suffer either. I feel like both need to happen. Loans and their interest rates are sucking the life from their borrowers. Credit cards are near impossible for fresh out of high school students to secure, but we are comfortable with letting those same inexperienced people take out thousands of dollars in student loans with high interest rates then, because those students earn nothing. They either can't pay more than the minimum or have to get on a pay-as-you-earn plan and get more crushed by interest. There were a few years where I was paying what I could while living alone and still saw my balance going up each month instead of down. It was so soul-crushing. If we were to remove this crushing debt, students would have more spending power in the economy, so it would actually be beneficial in the long run. Gotta fix the damage already done as well. Fixing the university structure won't do anything for those 30-40-year-olds who graduated decades ago and are buried under debt. It's a twofold problem. Schools used to be publicly funded to a high degree and tuition was inexpensive. States continually cut funding, so schools had to raise tuition, fundraise, and offer a plethora of amenities to attract students who would pay to keep the university in the business of education. When debt became more accessible, a lot of goods went up in price because there's more money to go around. This creates an arms race between universities and financial aid. It also happened with houses when mortgages became available. Also happened with consumer goods when credit cards became available. The debt trap has everyone paying for everything so the banks can swell. Student loan forgiveness is considered the first step in remedying the situation because it harms so many individuals. Loan forgiveness is like giving a bunch of people checks to deposit back into the economy, so there are a lot of reasons it would help. Reducing the cost of college by better funding universities would be the next step. We can't just abandon the people who are still paying their student loans by focusing only on cutting the cost of education because they get donations not to. I think the misconception is that people want only forgiveness or only structural change. The reality is, those who are burdened by massive amounts of debt that were needed for the degrees received from universities that have outrageously expensive costs want instant relief alongside long-term relief. If your house is burning, you want to put it out. Once the fire is out, you go about fireproofing the house. Do you argue with the firefighters putting the fire out, telling them that they aren't preventing future fires? Or do you let them approach the more immediate issue and then go about making future changes? If we can spend billions on another country's war, we can pay off my wife's student loans. Why don't we fix the US's healthcare system and stop relying so much on insurance companies to subsidize our healthcare? Because people that want to make money demand this system. Same thing for college costs. If student loans and grants can pay for greater costs for college so that more people make money, then there is no incentive for those greedy assholes to change anything. Most people who want to forgive student loans also want to change university structure. Also, many people have already paid off more than they borrowed and yet still owe a ton of money because of interest. It's a campaign to treat college like public K-12, make education completely free for anyone who wants it. But someone decided that forgive student debt would be more politically palatable than free college, so also remember, student debt is debt owed to the government. Private banks haven't been involved in federal student aid since the 00s. I can't answer your question properly because I believe both are important. Forgiving student loans undoes the damage which the system already caused. Changing the system prevents future damage. The former is easier and is being accomplished through executive action. The latter will take major legislation and consensus in Congress. With the current party makeup, this is functionally impossible for the time being. It's not a matter of rejecting one in favor of the other. It's about being realistic about what can be accomplished in the short term. Long term, we need to elect representatives that will do both. You came to the right place, lol.